All right, everybody. So here we go. This will be warning to all politicians. I'm running for president. 2024, part 67, I believe. Just wanted to go over, get rid of the music there, go over some more things. It's like I'm saying, you know, you keep making all these rules for the police, and you look at the type of people they have to deal with. You know, it's not a boxing match, and you're making it an unfair fight for the cop. You understand that? I mean, what if it's a woman officer, and the guy's twice her size or something, and all she can do is get a chokehold on the guy or something? Will it be allowed then? Will she be allowed to defend her life that way? What about the average citizen out here? I know if I'm jumped, you know, I'm not gonna have to defend myself by a certain set of rules, because they're not attacking me with a certain set of rules, are they? You know, I've always taught my son, you know, violence is the last resort, and to always try to walk away from trouble and not to make big deals out of things like, you know, if people take your parking spot in a shopping center or stuff like that. And my ex is bad about that. She mouths off to anybody, and I've always tried to keep it from rubbing off on him, and telling him, you know, there's certain things in life, you know, that are worth fighting for or making an argument over, and then there's other things that don't really amount up to a hill of beans. And you know, it's better to take, you know, the high road and just, you know, let certain things go. But I've also told him, if he's ever attacked, especially if it's by somebody he doesn't know, that he needs to know how to defend himself. And he took karate when he was little, but he never went back. I wished he would have. But so I've told him, you know, if you don't know the person and you don't know what they're going to do to you, or if you're trying to protect somebody with you, your girlfriend, or later on when you get married or something, you have to understand that, you know, it's not about being macho. It's not about being brave. It's you got to take them out as quick and any way you can, and you got to be ruthless and brutal. That's all there is to it, you know. And I told them some things to do and stuff I'm not going to get into on here, because people are like, oh, how could you say that and stuff? Because I know from my life and the places I've lived and the experiences I've had and stuff, that, you know, there are people that, because they're in that criminal mindset or whatever, they don't want to be caught. They don't want to be the one to lose. They're not going to hesitate to take you down, and they're not going to care if it kills you. I said in one of my earlier ones, I was jumped when I was 16 walking home from a friend's house, cracked over the back of the head with a pipe or nunchucks. I don't know what the hell it was. For all I know, actually, you know, they could have shot me, and I'd just been lucky it grazed the back of my head, because I went from standing up, walking, to down on one knee, holding the back of my head with blood gushing out all over the place, and not understanding how I got to that position. Watching tracers go off the headlights of the cars going by. So, but they didn't care. You can kill, if they hit me, whatever they did, they could have killed me. They didn't care. And so I'm not, and even after that, I was like, oh, because you listen to all the arguments, troubled childhood, this and that, and poor, no father in the home, and all the excuses. Well, I'm sorry. I had no father in the home. And I'm not saying, I was a number one angel, never did nothing, but I had a strong mother who always, told me, being poor is no reason to steal, and that, to respect the police and this and that and all that kind of stuff. But I get into regular mischief that most kids do and stuff, and I did my share of underage drinking and alike and stuff like that. But I never went out to hurt somebody. You understand? Never went out to hurt somebody or do anything like that. So you got to understand that making excuses for criminal activity, you just can't. And being, tougher on the cops than you are on the criminals. You don't know what real life is out here. You politicians, you live in your little gated communities, you have your security around you, everything else like that. You're not going to be walking through the mall and have somebody play the knockout game on you, or walking down the street have somebody play the knockout game on you, or be robbed, mugged. You have your police protection with you all the time. So, you can't make these excuses anymore. Like I said, I used to think, oh, okay, yeah, give somebody another chance, this and that, and and not no more. I'm not crying for criminals. I'm not crying for people who resist the cops. Who, when an officer first walks up and asks them for their ID or something, they fly into a rage like that Ahmaud Arbery guy. I mean, they made him out to look like, oh, he's just a everyday average guy. He's jogging and he was attacked and killed. There's video of him when he had an interaction with a police officer, going off on the cop. Being abusive and almost to the point of assault on the cop, for the cop just doing his job, saying, hey, there's a lot of drugs up here, just checking out what's going on. Why are you parked all the way up here like this? And I think if they would have looked in his car, maybe he'd still be alive now, because he sure didn't want him looking in that car. He might be in jail now. But trying to say every single person that has contact with the police is some sort of angel and the cops are the bad guys is ludicrous. You're out of your freaking minds. And along with that, thinking about immigration and stuff, and the word minorities, I want to go over that again some more. Because it's just supposed to mean less in number. That's it. Less in number, needed, your political representation in the government, take part in society, in all facets of it. But it's come to mean, and this is the thing, why I say when the politicians and stuff use the word minorities, it's derogatory. It's like it's derogatory. It's not just less in number. It's less capable. You're not as equal as the white people, is what they're saying. Now, when I talk to somebody out here, whether they're Mexican or black person or whoever, I'm not thinking, well, for a while there, I got to say, I was guilty, white guilt and stuff. Cutting a lot of slack for people and stuff and dealing with them in certain ways because, society's taught me to, well, have pity. They're a minority. Which in effect is saying they're less than you. Have pity. Don't deal with them like you deal with a white guy. Even when people on the street corners and stuff like that. I see a white guy out there. Yeah, maybe once in a while. Because I was more apt to buy like a sandwich or something at the truck stop at a Subway or something and give them a sandwich or a bottle of water or something on the way out when they're standing on the street corner than I was to give money. But more times than not, it was usually if I saw a black guy or a Mexican or something out there, I was more apt to give to them than I would the white guy. Because in my head, I'm thinking to the white guy, hey, get a freaking job. See him holding up signs saying, we'll work for food. And it's like, hey, buddy, guess what? They'll give you money for work these days. Go get a job. So I'm guilty of the white guilt thing and reacting differently with people of color than I would react with someone who's white. Being more lax or cutting them more slack, however you want to look at it. Or having some sense of pity, and now it's like, what the hell am I doing? It's not that I don't care about people of color any differently than I care about white people. But, it's like this thing that they're drumming into people. Well, they're a minority. And I think that has to do with the immigration stuff. Well, you got to let them in. They're minority. They don't see Mexican nationals as equals. They're not seeing them as equals. Like if it was a bunch of white people trying to cross the border, then I don't think they'd have a problem arresting people and detaining them and everything. I really don't. If it was white people crossing the border, they would have no problem detaining them and everything. But because they look at Mexicans as minorities, which means they need our help, is why we have the double standard. Am I wrong in this? I don't think I'm wrong in this. I think that's why they don't want, well, that plus the economic stuff. They want cheap labor. Back in '89, when I first started driving, I went to Watts in Southern California there. And when I started looking for the address, I was like, man, this can't be right. This cannot be right. And I was where the projects were, on the edge of the projects there. Remember that video they did when the gang violence was real bad, about stop the violence and stuff? Right there, those buildings and stuff there. And then there were some houses down the street, and I could barely get down the street because there was burned out cars and crap on the corners. And I pulled up out, it was like a house, how they have like a setback garage back off to the side that's set way, like in the backyard almost. And this guy came out and he said, yeah, you're at the right place. Just, back in the driveway, back all the way up to the garage. They're still working on it. They're almost done. So there I am with a 53-foot trailer, a 3-axle tractor, sticking out into the street in this neighborhood. I'm blocking the sidewalk and everything. Backed into this driveway of this house, up to the detached garage. And I walked back with the guy to the thing, and he's like, yeah, they're almost done. Now there's probably about 15 Mexicans in there. There's no air conditioning. It's a sweatshop. And they're making the chrome clothing racks for you know, like in the stores and the malls and stuff. And these were going to Dillard's in Tucson. Now, whether Dillard's knows where they get them from or who they purchase or how they're made and stuff is beyond me, and whether they still do or not. But the thing is here's these guys. You know, they're working for peanuts, no benefits, no nothing. They're all illegal. Making these chrome clothing racks. Now, with NAFTA and everything, I'm sure those things probably just started coming out of Mexico, or maybe this guy went into business doing. Maybe his competitor started doing it, so he had to do it to stay in business, hire illegals, and that's the way it works. Plenty of honest business people have been put out of business because of illegals in this country, whether it's in landscaping or making stuff like that, small manufacturing operations, who would have regular employees and stuff, have been put out of business, or they've gone the route and hired illegals too to stay in business. You know, so whether his competitors were making those things on this side of the border for cheap, and so he had to make them for cheap, or if he just was the first one to start doing it to maybe compete with stuff out of Mexico, who knows? But that's the way it goes. A lot of people have been put out of work in this country and small businesses because of illegals. That's why you got so many of those check cashing places and stuff, because they're being paid under the table. And a lot of things, and even some of the banks, the guy there'll be like a head honcho for the illegals working at a place. He'll write that guy a big check, and he might have like a quote unquote, you know, labor pool company or something. So he writes him a big check. He goes to the bank, you know, deposit that check in his bank, and then withdraws cash and pays the illegals in cash. That's how it works. So when they tell you, oh, they're all paying taxes and all this and everything, it's horseshit. Then they're also getting all the social benefits, the welfare and this and that and everything. Like I said, I go to the grocery store in some of the Hispanic neighborhoods and around the first of the month, and look at the shopping carts overflowing with food, and then the guy right behind, you know, got a shopping cart full of beer and a wad of cash in his pocket. And that's another thing out here, you know. And you always run into these Mexican guys, and they love to pull out, and they got the money clip, and they love to show you how much cash they got. Hey, gringo, and this and that, and they're running the black guys out here too. You know, oh, I got this, I got that, I got this, you know, because it's supposed to bother us if we're white, if you don't understand what I'm saying here. That's why they do it. So we're the racist, but all the time you're running into these guys all the time, you know, or they start talking, oh, I'm gonna get some white women. No, we're the racist. But for the most part, you know, most people aren't like those kinds of assholes that for some reason feel they have to. I don't know what the deal is. Trying to say they're smarter. You know, you stupid white person, you stupid gringo. Look, I got more money in my pocket than you, or something. Like it's supposed to bother me or bother somebody else. So I just don't know where the mentalities come from, other than people like Farrakhan, you know, preaching, you know, the enemy's out to get us. The enemy's the fault of all your problems. You better start taking a look at them liberal Democrats and the policies and stuff. And as far as immigration goes, where's it written we got to let anybody in? This is our country. And we're supposed to commit suicide by letting people in from all around the world who hate us and hate our system and want to overturn it and have things their way, and use phony bullshit like racism and economic justice and all this type of stuff. Because minority was just supposed to mean less in number. Now it means you got to help me. You got to give me a check. You got to give me welfare. You got to give me food stamps. You got to pay for all these kids I have by different fathers. None of them stuck around. You've been sold a cheap bunch of goods, America. You really have. You've swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. Been con jobbed into, you got to be. We got to do this. We got to do that, and all. And the whole time we're told, we got to help these people and this and that, and treat them like they're not equals, that they're not capable. Oh, we got to help them. We got to help them, and at the same time we got to listen to all the bullshit. That we're all racist, that we're the enemy. So if we're going to put everything on the table and have a talk about racism, we're going to talk about it all. You're going to hear our side too. The crap we have to deal with as a white person in America. And also, oh, you're afraid of the browning of America, this and that and everything. Well, we're more afraid of being taken over from within. What then? What if we become the minority? Will it be like South Africa? Are you asking us to cut our own throats? Because with the attacks on the founding fathers, number one, because what if they'd been black? What if they'd been black slave owners? You still hate the founding fathers? I don't know. But the fact remains, this country was founded by white men, educated white men, who knew world history, who knew the classic sciences and the philosophies and stuff, and who studied the world. Now, we're supposed to watch our heritage as white people be destroyed while we're told all the time we have to respect the culture and the history of other people? It's all right for you to trash my history, my cultural background and ancestry, so that you can exalt yours? Would that fly anywhere else in the world? Would you stand for it if white people went into Africa? Oh, there you have South Africa. Okay. Point out South Africa. But there was a lot that those whites did in South Africa and made it one of the better countries in Africa. So let's put it all on the table. That's what some of you, not all African Americans or Mexicans are asking us, but the extremists, the Black Lives Matters, the Antifas, La Raza, all these groups and everything. It's all right for them to charge headlong with, it's their culture, it's this and that, and they want to preserve this and want to exalt their people and all this types of stuff. And we're supposed to stand by and watch our history and our culture, the founding of this nation and everything, be wiped out. So we're just supposed to be trampled underfoot in the name of or the fear of being called racist if we don't stand up for ourselves. And it's a mind blank on you, America, if you know what I mean. It's word games. It's tee-hee-hee. Keep shining them on. Keep shining them on. Wait, just wait. Keep shining them on. Don't let our real hatred show through. You know, it's just all in the name of equality and this and that until we get the upper hand. Is that it? That's the question, isn't it? So as a culture and a majority white society, we're supposed to commit suicide and stand back and allow all kinds of people into this country who want to overturn it and call us a bunch of racists and this and that. That don't make any damn sense. Logically, philosophically, anyhow. You look at world history, there's I don't see China letting in a bunch of people. Russia, anywhere else. Mexico, you know, millions of Chinese started showing up in Mexico demanding this and that and destroying Mexican culture and heritage. How would you feel about that? How would you feel about that? Or if they millions of Chinese showed up in Africa, started destroying everything African, you wouldn't stand for that. That'd be racist. But we're supposed to allow it in the name of white guilt. If we went south of the border and started destroying Mexican heritage and culture and all those millions of white people, that wouldn't be okay. But it's okay if it's in the reverse fashion. Now I'm saying, you know, I know all Mexicans don't think that way and stuff, but there are increasingly more who are here not because they want the American life and stuff. They're here strictly for their own benefit, and they could give a damn about becoming a citizen at all. And then when they are, it's only, you know, we need more for our people. We need more for our race. That's where the racism comes in. And I think these terms, minorities and this and that and everything, are what's causing the division. Because you're not looking at these people coming into this as equals. You're looking at, hey, they're minorities. They're minorities. They need our help. They're minorities. The way you use minority doesn't mean less in number. Because you can't look at Mexico and see the millions of Mexicans there and say they're minorities, can you? But they're the ones who cross in. So how are they a special group? Either you have equality or you don't. And if they're equal, then why do we have to bend over backwards to accommodate them? You know, can anybody understand that? Can you understand that? When you classify people as minorities anymore, you're automatically saying, well, they're not equal. A Mexican in Mexico is not a minority. But as soon as he steps across this border, he's not equal anymore. If I go to Mexico, I don't look around and say, oh, look at all these poor minorities. And because I would be the minority, you know, I wouldn't be like, hey, you people owe me something. It's just ludicrous. The mind game going on. It is absolutely ludicrous. You know, Asians are less in number. I never hear them talking about they're a minority that needs all kinds of special stuff. Arabs who come to this country are a minority. People from India are a minority. Pakistan, they're a minority. Anywhere else, Chinese, Japanese, they're minorities. They don't want to be looked down upon as they're not as equal as us. They don't carry the attitude that they're not as equal as white people. But for some reason, Congress and the far left and everything, if you're Hispanic or you're black or African American, you get thrown into that. You're a minority. I'm telling you, it's all words and mind games, man. I'm telling you. You got to stop letting these people, sign you up for all their lunacy, and that you have to back them and everything, and that, you're being held down and you're oppressed and whitey is the enemy and all that kind of stuff. It's 2020, man. Just get on with your life. Apply yourself. This is America. This is why people come here from all around the world. They apply themselves and they become successes. I could have applied myself better in my life and maybe be in a better position than I am now. I didn't. You make your bed, you lay in it. And so, I question when I see all these people, oh, yeah, and, I'm oppressed and this and that. And well, have you applied yourself, or were you a dummy like me and wasted, 10 years of your life? Plenty of black doctors and lawyers and this and that and everything. You know how they got there? They applied themselves. They worked for it. They didn't walk around with a chip on their shoulder saying, I'm a minority. They took part in society. All right, wish you all the best out there. Be safe and God bless. Adios.